Today, I'm going to be talking about my favorite game of all time, Punch-Out! For the Nintendo Wii! This game is a sequel, reboot, successor thingy of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! For the NES. I say the NES because it's honestly the most similar to the original NES game rather than Super Punch-Out! On the SNES, although there are some characters from that game in the Wii version. So I'm gonna just say it's a sequel, reboot, successor to that one. Before we begin talking about the game, I want to talk about the amazing developers, Next Level Games. Next Level Games is a video game development company that is located in Vancouver, Canada. The company was founded in August of 2002 and has been making games ever since then. A lot of these games were published by Nintendo, but there are games published by other companies. I don't want to take up too much time going over every game, but I will quickly list every game in a quick description. Here we go! NHL Hits Pro. This is a hockey game and the first game developed by the company. It gives off Strikers vibes. Super Mario Strikers. It's soccer with Mario, but really chaotic. The art style of this game is super cool. Mario Strikers Charged. It's soccer with Mario again, but this time it's even more chaotic. This game isn't as strong as the first game, in my opinion, but it's still really well made. Spider-Man Friend or Foe. This is a 3D beat-em-up similar to Spider-Man for the PS4. According to Wikipedia, this game is basically an alternate universe version of the Sam Raimi trilogy. Ticket to Ride. This is a digital version of the board game of the same name. I've never heard of the game, but apparently it's still supported on Xbox servers, so I guess someone still plays it. Jungle Speed. Another digital version of a physical game, but this was only for WiiWare. The Next Level Games website says it's an 8-player game, so that's kind of insane. Punch-Out! The game we are talking about today. Stay tuned to learn more about it. Doc Lewis's Punch-Out! This was a Club Nintendo exclusive that is a spin-off of Punch-Out! Wii. It's really short and you fight the same character 3 times, but it's still pretty neat. Transformers Cybertron Adventures, a licensed game for the Nintendo Wii. Nothing really special, it got really bad reviews and apparently it's a sequel to a non-Next Level game, so I don't care about it. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. Another entry in the Tom Clancy series, but exclusive for the Wii. It surprised me that they made this game, but you can kind of tell from game footage. Also, this game looks really fun. I might try it one day. Captain America Super Soldier. Another beat 'em up, but this time with Captain America! This game was released on everything, but only the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions were made by Next Level Games. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. A sequel to Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS. I really love this game and played it a lot as a kid. Metroid Prime Federation Force, a spin-off of the Metroid Prime series on the 3DS. All I know about this game is that a lot of fans hate it. Luigi's Mansion 3, another sequel Luigi's Mansion on the Nintendo Switch. I got this game the day it came out, but never ended up finishing it. I do plan on doing so one day though. Super Mario Strikers Battle League, a third entry in this series after 15 years. Unfortunately, this game is nowhere near as fun as the first two, according to a lot of people, which was really disappointing after that long of a time. Personally, I found it fun, just lacking in things to do. These Nintendo properties were clearly their best games, so in early 2014, Next Level Games said they would only work with Nintendo, and in early 2021, Nintendo purchased the company officially. Now that you know the history of Next Level Games, we can talk about the game in question. Punch-Out! Gameplay. The gameplay in Punch-Out is one of its greatest strengths. Okay, so the most important part of the gameplay is the boxing part of the boxing game. So how does it work? Well, there's a few different ways to beat up the opponent boxers. You can do a left and right jab or uppercut on the opponent. You can also dodge opponent's attacks in 4 different ways. You can move to the left or to the right. You can duck, or you can put both your fists up and block an attack. Finally, you can use your most powerful attack of all, the Star Punch. You can gain stars by countering attacks, hitting opponents when they glow yellow, or hitting them on certain frames. The more stars you have, the more devastating the attack. With 1 star, you do a bunch of damage, but with 3, you can clear most of the opponent's health bar with 1 swing. All things considered, this game has very simple controls. Where this game thrives, however, is in the mastering of these controls. When to dodge left, or when you should counter an attack. Should I use the star punch right now, or wait until I can get more? It's one of those easy to learn, hard to master kind of games, and I love it for that. Here's a more specific example. Here we have Disco Kid. Disco Kid goes for a punch on the right. He telegraphs this by saying, "Here it comes," and goes for the punch. As a new player, you would logically think, I should dodge to the opposite direction, and if you did, you would successfully dodge the attack and would be able to get a bunch of hits in with a stun. Here's the beauty of this game, however. You have a lot more options. You could duck for the same effect. You could also counter, which involves hitting a right uppercut right when he goes in for the punch, which will give you a star. As you can see, someone who is new to the game can dodge the attacks and successfully defeat Disco Kid, but someone who is experienced knows the advanced techniques that allow for a quick defeat of Disco Kid. This is true for all the fighters in the game, and it makes the game endlessly replayable, which is why I've played it endlessly. But wait, I've talked about the advanced techniques, but I haven't even talked about the secret techniques. Secret techniques is a term I just made up, but it's basically the super secret ways to beat opponents really, really fast. An example of a secret fast knockdown is when you're fighting Aaron Ryan and you knock him down once, he'll get up and push himself against the weird boxing ring bands. I don't even know what they're called. Anyway, once he gets on those bands, he'll fling towards you. If you block, you'll stop him. And if you triple star punch him, he'll go down for good. Instant KO! A lot of the fighters in the game have these instant KOs, and some have instant knockdown, which depletes their health bar to 0 immediately. Figuring out how fast you can get these instant knockdowns and KOs, beating up opponents as fast as possible, and figuring out faster ways to play and getting better is what makes the gameplay of Punch-Out so awesome and so addictive to keep playing. One of the greatest strengths of this game is its characters. Every single character in this game is dripping and oozing with personality. The way a character acts directly influences how they fight and how they interact with Little Mac. Little Mac, I haven't even talked about him yet. Little Mac is this guy. The main character of this game. He's small, but he packs a lot of punch. He's also my main in Smash Brothers. Because Little Mac is the main character, he really doesn't have much of a personality, but that really isn't a complaint. Him being silent and just fighting allows for the player to focus on the fighters and how they attack. Another non-fighter character is Mac's trainer, Doc Lewis. This character has lots of personality, whether he is training you in the cutscenes, giving you tips in between rounds,
and distract this gorilla. I grab his bananas so I can make me a chocolate sundae.
or congratulating you because you want to fight. Doc Lewis is a really funny character and is a great addition to the cast, but he's not a fighter, and that's where the real fun of the characters comes in. The characters in this game are all stereotypes.
What?
No, alright, I know that's...
And in all honesty, in the original NES game, it hasn't really aged well. But in this version of the game, they executed this idea very well. First of all, none of the stereotypes are inherently saying they are bad for being the way they are. The stereotypes are used to benefit the character. Another reason it isn't bad is because every character is voiced by a native voice actor. They don't talk in English accents either. They talk in their original language. For example, Don Flamenco is from Madrid, Spain, and all of his dialogue is in Spanish. It's really progressive and it makes the characters feel real. This adds to the characters' personalities, and like I said earlier, it generally goes along with how the characters fight. The characters are also just funny. They can be both silly and scary. Aaron Ryan is a hilarious Irish stereotype, and you can't really take him seriously with him yelling and dancing all around the ring. But Mr. Sandman is absolutely terrifying with his booming voice and large stature. The opponent boxes are really what brings this game alive, along with the gameplay. Also, Donkey Kong is in this game for some reason. Yeah. Now to quickly go through every character without boring you, I'm going to do a very quick ranking section. Ready, set, go! Little Mac. He's cool, but he's boring. King Hippo. I never really liked him. He's just kind of boring. Bear Hugger. I suck at fighting him, and he's kind of annoying. Von Kaiser. He's kind of basic. Really easy in both fights, though. Great Tiger. His fights are really boring, but you do Thanos snap him. Glass Joe. Extremely easy, but pathetically funny. Bald Bull. He's fun to get better and better at, and that's all he's got going on. Disco Kid, the only original fighter in this game. He's a lot of fun to beat up really fast, kinda basic though. Soda Popinski, he's wicked scary on the refight. Piston Hondo, his name used to be Piston Honda, and I find that kinda neat. Don Flamenco, him taunting you is really funny, and I love when he says,
Donkey Kong. I still don't understand why they thought it was okay for Mac to fight a giant friggin' gorilla.
Doc Lewis, I love him for all the reasons I said earlier. Aaron Ryan. Mr. Sandman, he's big and brooding, scary, and really easy if you know the tricks. Awesome final boss. Super Macho Man, this character is hilarious. His dialogue is funny, he's fun to beat up, fast, he's scary the first time you fight him, and well...
Release the focus!
Okay, I'll be honest. This section is called The Story, but this game doesn't really have much of a story, but it does have structure, and I want to go over all that briefly. So this game's main story can be organized into 3 different sections. Contender is you rising up the ranks trying to become the champion of the WVBA, the World Video Boxing Association. This mode definitely gets the player used to how the game works, and for the most part is pretty easy up until the last few fighters. In title defense, you are defending your champion title. It's all in the title. You essentially go through the game again, but with harder versions of each fight. For example, Glass Joe now has headgear and dodges all star punches, if he's not stunned. This go around of the game is much harder and takes a lot of time if it's your first time playing. And finally, we have Mac's Last Stand. In this mode, Little Mac, for some reason, has decided that after 3 losses, he is going to retire. So you basically go into an endless gauntlet of fighting title defense characters until you lose 3 times. When you lose 3 times, the game officially ends. Yay! This mode is honestly really weird, and I wish they did something more interesting, but for the most part, it's a good way to end the game in a solid way. What's cool about this mode, though, is that it has 2 secrets. The first being Donkey Kong. The second secret is Champions Mode, which we will go over in the next section. That's essentially the story of this game. It's not long, especially if you can beat the fighters really fast. I think it being so organized and short is definitely beneficial, especially for repeat playthroughs and speedruns of this game. Besides the main game, there are a couple of different modes. The biggest extra mode being Exhibition. This mode lets you fight any opponent boxer as many times as you want. When you are playing the main game and are stuck on a boxer, you can fight a hologram version that deals no damage to practice the fight. In this mode, you can practice learning how to beat the boxers faster, try new tricks, or if you just want to beat up Glass Joe for the 19th time, you can do that. This mode also has challenges, 3 unique objectives that you can try to achieve while fighting the opponents. These are one of the major incentives to allow players to get better at the game. These challenges can be very difficult, especially for players who aren't that experienced yet. For example, Title Defense Super Macho Man has a challenge where you have to TKO him in under 2 minutes. This challenge is really hard, even if you know the game really well. These challenges might be hard, but I love their inclusion. It's always so satisfying to complete the hard ones. I think the funniest challenge is against Contender Glass Joe. The challenge is to lose by decision. Basically, you have to knock him down 3 times, and by the end of the 3 rounds, still have him win. This challenge can actually be quite difficult if you don't know what you're doing, believe it or not. I highly recommend trying these challenges if you ever get the chance. Just be prepared to keep trying over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Another added mode to Exhibition is Champions Mode. This mode is unlocked if you win 10 fights and max last stand without losing 3 times. When this mode is turned on, you will be knocked down in 1 hit. This makes the fights a lot harder, and you are rewarded with a trophy next to the fighter's icon in the exhibition mode. There is also a head-to-head mode. This is a 2-player mode where you and a buddy can fight each other in the ring. It's a standard 2-player mode. It does add Gigamac, which is an unnatural beast, which is kind of weird, but it's still pretty funny. Honestly, this mode is pretty average and I haven't played much of it. It's still a very neat conclusion. I'm glad they added it. The final mode is Gallery. This just allows you to rewatch cutscenes and listen to different audio clips. Just a basic gallery mode that's in a lot of games. That's pretty much it for the modes in this game. The main game is the real meat of the game, and I feel that was a good choice, especially for how this game functions. I've talked about all aspects of this game and how it works, but I haven't straight up answered why it is amazing. And to put it into one phrase, simple complexity. That's what makes this game amazing. The gameplay is simple to understand, but complex if you understand the hidden techniques. The characters being simple stereotypes, but having them all speak their native languages and having them act like who they are based off creates a complex or interesting idea behind each character. The exhibition mode at first looks like a simple side mode to be able to refight boxers, but then it has unique challenges that incentivize fighting each boxer and getting better at the game. Over and over, the idea of simple complexity keeps coming up, and it's why I think this game is amazing. I think anyone who wants to get into this game easily can. It's so easy to get into, and I hope in my explanation of the game, I was able to convince you of how awesomely epic this game is. I really hope this video demonstrated how awesome this game is and I could convince somebody to actually play it. It was really fun to analyze a game I really love and look at every individual part and see why it's so great. I did forget one detail while recording this video, and that is the options menu. Still hope at like every Nintendo Direct and every day they'll just announce a new Punch-Out game. Having said that though, I am really anxious about how they handle it because their last game, Mario Strikers Battle League, was really DLC heavy, and I really don't want that to happen to Punch-Out because I feel like it will ruin the quality. But I am optimistic about it. I do believe it could end really well because Luigi's Mansion 3 didn't have that problem. I also hope you enjoyed this deluxe version of this video where I went back through, re-edited some mistakes that were in there, changed some things in the script, and recorded this outro. I'm doing this deluxe version because I really loved this video, but it was a bit rushed when I made it. And I just wanted to go back and fix it and make it the best it could possibly be. But that's it for me. I got nothing else to say. Go ahead and play Punch-Out if you really want to. Or if you've played it before, play it again. I don't know. Yeah, check out one of my other videos, or check out my second channel, Ross Brightside, where I just do silly, dumb edits in dumb videos. But yeah, that's it for me. Have a good day,